Welcome to NM's Arena. In this video, let us discuss in detail regarding the merchant bankers. The term merchant banking has been used differently in different parts of the world. For example, in UK, a merchant banking refers to accepting and issuing houses, and in USA, it is known as investment banking. The word merchant banking has been so widely used that sometimes it is also applied to banks who are not even doing the merchant banking services. So, and overall, we can define the merchant bank as an institution or an organization which provides a number of services, including management of securities issues, portfolio services, underwriting of capital issues, insurance, credit syndication, financial advisors, project counseling, etc. It would be necessary to make a distinction between merchant banking and commercial banking for a better understanding of what is merchant banking. The merchant banks mainly offer financial services for a fee, while the commercial banks they accept deposit and grant loans. That is the basic or the primary functions of the commercial banks, but that function is entirely different from what the merchant banks do. So we have to analyze what are the functions of the merchant bankers. Their functions include corporate counseling, project counseling, capital restructuring services, portfolio management, issue management, loan syndication, arranging working capital finance, bill discounting, lease finance, venture capital, and other specialized services. Let us discuss each of these services in detail. Now, first of all, let us discuss regarding the corporate counseling services provided by the merchant bankers. They render advice to the corporate enterprises from time to time in order to improve their performance and to build better image or reputation among the investors, and also to increase the market value of the shares. And this counseling is provided in the form of opinions, suggestions, detailed analysis of corporate laws as applicable to the business unit, etc. And the merchant bankers make a detailed market analysis in order to evaluate the profitability of each product line, its growth or demand at present as well as in the future. And on the basis of this analysis, it advises whether to continue or expand or to discontinue any product line. And these merchant bankers also help the sick units by assessing their requirements for the rehabilitation. They support them by studying their manufacturing process and technology in terms of its obsolescence. And based on these studies, the merchant banker advises on the restructuring or reorganization of their capital base. And the project counseling broadly covers the study of the project and providing advisory services on the feasibility of the project and the steps to be followed for its implementation. It includes development of an idea of a project or reviewing of the project profile and the preparation of the project report after considering its financial, economic, as well as market feasibility. And estimation of the cost of the project is another service. Deciding the means of financing as well as the composition of various types of securities. And then studying the procedural aspects of project implementation. And regarding the capital restructuring, the merchant banks render different capital restructuring services to the corporate units depending upon the circumstances a particular unit is facing. It may include services like examination of the capital structure of a corporate unit to decide the extent of capitalization. And in the case of bonus issues, it helps the clients in a preparation of memorandum for controller of capital issue and in obtaining this consent from them. And for certain companies, they suggest an alternative capital structure which is in conformity with the legal requirements. It also advises the company on disinvestment issues to their maximum advantage. And for sick units, it also suggests appropriate capital structure that will help the unit in its revival. And it also gives advices regarding to the extent and means of bringing fresh capital into the business. The merchant bankers also render advices on the mergers, takeovers, amalgamations, and also help them in their implementation. They also identify the areas of diversification of the existing production systems and also suggest various strategies to widen and restructure the capital base accordingly. The merchant bankers not only provide service to the companies issuing the securities, but they also support the investors. They advise their clients, mostly the institutional investors. The institutional investors are mainly their clients. So they advise their clients regarding the investment decisions as to the quantum of amount of security and the type of security in which to invest. And they render necessary service to the investors by advising on the optimum investment mix, taking into account the factors concerned with it. And they also undertake the function of purchase and sale of securities for their clients so as to provide them portfolio management services. And some merchant bankers are also managing the mutual funds and offshore funds also. Actually, the functions of the merchant banker had been mainly confined to the management of new public issues of corporate securities by the newly formed companies, existing companies, if they are issuing further any shares, and the other companies in these situations. And so the merchant banker usually act as a sponsor of the issues because they obtain the consent of the controller of capital issues and the SEBI, and also provide a number of other services to ensure success in the marketing of securities. So their services include preparation of prospectus and providing assistance in obtaining the consent of the controller of capital issues. Then the selection of institutional and broker underwriters and underwriting agreements. Then they also help in the appointment of registrars, brokers, and bankers to the issue, and also in advertising and arranging publicity agency for the post and pre-issues. They also support in selection of issue house and compliance of listing requirements of the stock exchanges. They even act as a coordinator with uh, underwriter brokers and bankers to the issue and stock exchanges. In addition to that, they advises the client whether to go for a fresh issue or additional issue or a bonus issue or a right issue of equity or preference or both. If both, then in what proportion it is to be made. And if debentures are to be issued, it advises on the type of debentures, whether convertible or not convertible, whether redeemable or non-redeemable, or whether linked with the equity or preference shares, etc. So the merchant bankers perform the function of taking a decision as to the size and timing of the public issue on the basis of the prevailing market conditions, the press coverage, underwriting support from the institutional underwriters, etc. The merchant bankers also provide specialized services in the preparation of project and in loan applications for raising short-term as well as long-term credit for various banks and financial institutions for financing the project or meeting the working capital requirements. They also manage the issues and help in raising funds abroad. And their services in this regard includes the estimation of the total cost or expenditure on the project, and then preparing a financial plan to meet the total cost of the project, keeping into consideration the requirements of the promoters and their collaborators, financial institutions, banks, government agencies, and underwriters. And they also assist the clients in the preparation of loan applications for financial assistance from the lending institutions like banks and other institutions, and they also monitor their progress. They support in making selection of the institutions or banks for participation in financing. The follow-up of the term loan application with the financial institutions and banks and obtaining the satisfaction for their share of participation is yet another function of the merchant bankers. They also help in completion of the legal formalities listed by the participating financial institutions and banks. And now they also support in arranging working capital finance. Earlier, the working capital finance was not considered to be a merchant bank activity, but it used to be a part of the commercial bank's function. But some banks like Canara Bank, Greenlands Bank, and Central Bank of India, they have had already started including the working capital finance as one of their merchant banking service. And the finance for working capital is provided usually for the new ventures or for existing companies through the issue of debentures. So the working capital support provided includes estimation of working capital requirements and assistance in preparing application for the credit facilities for the purpose of submission to the bankers and RBI, and they also support in the completion of documentation and other formalities, and also assist in negotiations for the sanction of appropriate credit facilities. They also advise the clients for the issue of debentures for meeting the increased long-term working capital requirements of the client company. In the foreign countries, the bill discounting function is an important function done by the merchant bankers. But in India, this facility is not provided to the corporate units by the merchant bankers. But it is an important function recognized as to be done by the merchant bankers. Actually, a bill of exchange accepted by an established company automatically becomes acceptable to the sellers of goods and to the lenders of money, even though they do not have any knowledge of the credit worthiness of the drawer of the bill. So we can propose certain functions to be done by the merchant bankers in this regard, like finding out the reputation and the financial standing of the acceptor of the bill, and the existence of a system for collection of information on the borrowers. The commercial banks can undertake the acceptance and discount business because they have the necessary expertise and the broad network of branches, of course. But at present, only bill discounting facilities available to the commercial bankers under the RBI's scheme. The Indian merchant bankers have still to formulate the practices and procedure so that efficient services could be offered in this bill discounting function. Many merchant bankers are also providing leasing and finance facilities to their customers. We know that it is an arrangement that provides a firm with the use and control over assets without buying and owning the same. And the merchant bankers assist their clients by providing finance for acquisition of the asset taken on lease. And many merchant bankers maintain venture capital funds also to assist the entrepreneurs who lack the capital to be risked. And the capital funds may be provided for the unproven ideas and the technology oriented projects, and also as a startup funds. The venture capital has emerged as a new merchant banking activity. It is a form of equity financing, especially defined for funding high risk and high reward projects. The merchant bankers also help companies in raising finance by way of public deposits. In addition to the basic activities involving marketing of securities, the merchant banks also provide corporate advisory services on issues like mergers and amalgamations, takeovers, and then tax matters, advice on the recruitment of executives, advice on cost and management audit, etc. The activities of the merchant bankers are increasing with the change in the money market. They also provide assistance in formulating plans for the future growth of enterprises. Thus, we know that the merchant banker plays a number of roles. He plays the role of a promoter, advisor, rehabilitator, and an agent or intermediary for the corporate enterprises. He translates the ideas into ventures by providing a number of promotional services such as identification of projects, preparing feasibility reports, obtaining government approvals, raising funds for the projects, etc. So, after the project is promoted, a merchant banker acts as a corporate advisor and renders a number of services for the successful running of the enterprise. His expert advice on certain issues is very crucial to the entrepreneurs. And as a managerial economist, he guides the client on the aspects of organizational goals, locational factors, choice of a product, a market survey, forecasting of a product, cost reduction, cost analysis, allocation of resources, etc. And as a financial and investment expert, a merchant banker has to guide the corporate clients in areas covering financial reporting, project measurement, working capital management, financial requirements, sources of finance, evaluating financial alternatives, rate of return, cost of capital, etc. And the merchant banker, acting as a manager to the issue, settles the fee for the advocate advice and the accountant's certification, brokers and banks charges, underwriters commission, printing charges, advertising and publicity expenses, etc. A merchant banker also plays the role of a rehabilitator at the time of acquisition, merger, takeover, amalgamation, etc. Many merchant banks also act as agents for their clients and their companies for maintaining registers of shareholders and debenture holders, and so they act as transfer agents and paying agents for interest and dividend. And as on an overall, we can say that the merchant bankers are masters in all trading activities. They ride the horse in the capital market. So they are very important in the development of an economy. So that's all about the big role played by the merchant banker in the industrial world. And to provide this large variety of services, the merchant banker has to possess a number of qualities. He should be an expert in the financial market and well versed with the activities involved in the promotion of an enterprise. The merchant banker should possess high integrity to inspire trust and confidence. He should have large resources to meet the requirement of the customers. With this, we are ending this video. Thank you for watching this video. For more videos, subscribe the channel.